This story is fictional. It's based on real events, but everything beyond the known facts is speculation. Our goal is to explore an alternate timeline, not to rewrite history, but to imagine what might have been.
What if the Supreme Court had ended birthright citizenship? On June 30th, 2026, the Supreme Court handed down one of the most consequential rulings of the decade. By a clear majority, the justices struck down President Trump's executive order that had attempted to end birthright citizenship for children born to undocumented immigrants and temporary visa holders. The ruling reaffirmed the 14th Amendment, ratified in 1868, which states that all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens. The principle had survived for more than 150 years. That day, it survived again. But the vote was not a landslide. The legal arguments on both sides were real, and the precedent being challenged was older than living memory. For a moment, the country held its breath. What if the court had broken the other way? What if, by a single vote, the justices had upheld the executive order, ruled that birthright citizenship could be restricted by presidential action, that the 14th Amendment did not apply to children of non-citizens? The ruling drops on a Thursday morning in late June. By noon, the country is not celebrating. It is trying to understand what just happened. The first crisis is immediate and physical. Maternity wards across the country are suddenly unable to process newborns. Nurses and administrators are handed conflicting guidance from hospital legal departments. A child born Tuesday is a citizen. A child born Friday might not be. The Social Security Administration quietly suspends automatic Social Security number issuance for newborns pending further clarification. Thousands of birth certificates go out the door marked citizenship status pending. The babies are here. They just don't belong anywhere yet. Within 2 weeks, the Department of Homeland Security publishes an emergency framework, 47 pages long. It answers almost nothing. Children born to at least one U.S. citizen parent are unaffected. Children born to green card holders are flagged for review. Children born to undocumented parents or temporary visa holders are, under the order's language, not automatically citizens. An estimated 150,000 children are born in the United States every year in this last category. As of the ruling's effective date, they are stateless. Stateless. Not illegal. Not deportable. They haven't committed an act, they've simply been born. But they have no passport. No country will claim them. They cannot travel, and in some states they cannot enroll in public school without a valid citizenship document that doesn't exist yet. The State Department begins receiving formal protests from allied governments within days. Germany, Canada, France. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees issues a statement expressing concern about a mass statelessness event occurring inside a permanent member of the Security Council, language previously reserved for collapsing states. By August, the political fracture inside the United States is no longer theoretical. 12 state attorneys general, led by California, New York, and Illinois, announced that their states will not enforce the ruling. They will continue issuing birth certificates that designate children as citizens, regardless of parental status, arguing the 14th Amendment remains binding constitutional law regardless of how the executive or the court chooses to interpret it. The federal government responds by threatening to withhold education funding. Now, there are two systems. In some states, a child born in a hospital is a citizen. In others, the same child, born under the same roof with the same parents, is stateless. The country has not split on geography like this since the 1860s. The comparison is not lost on anyone. Immigration courts, already backlogged by years, are now receiving citizenship dispute cases involving people born in the United States decades ago. Adults who suddenly face questions about their own status because their parents were on student visas at the time. A 34-year-old veteran who served 2 tours in Afghanistan receives a letter from the VA questioning his benefit eligibility pending citizenship verification. He has a U.S. passport. He served in the U.S. military. He was born in Phoenix. None of it is enough because the system no longer knows what enough means. By the end of the year, tens of thousands of children under 12 months old are formally classified as stateless persons by international human rights organizations. Hospitals in border states begin transferring cases to nonprofit legal organizations that are drowning in paperwork. A bipartisan group in Congress attempts to pass emergency legislation to codify birthright citizenship into federal statute. But the bill stalls in the Senate when the administration signals it will veto any measure that restores the pre-ruling status quo. The international community does not forget. American business people traveling abroad begin encountering new friction at customs checkpoints. 2 countries in the European Union quietly adjust their visa reciprocity agreements with the United States. The reputational damage is quieter than war. It is the slow withdrawal of the assumption that the United States is a country where foundational rules hold. What is left in this alternate 2026 is a country where the most basic civic promise, "You were born here, you belong here," has been cracked open. The 14th Amendment still exists in the text of the Constitution, still printed in civics textbooks. But for a generation of children, it is decorative. They are born on American soil, in American hospitals, to parents who came here legally or illegally or somewhere in between. And the country looks at them and says, "We are still deciding." The amendment was written to make sure that could never happen again. In this version of the story, it wasn't enough.
In this world, history went one way. But here, we ask what could have happened. If you want more alternate timelines and government what-ifs, subscribe, comment your theory, and stay tuned. This is State of What If.